I'm Francisco Pergola.
And I'm Tomas Pergola, and we're the Cheddar brothers.
I studied architecture.
And I studied corporate communication. So naturally, the next thing we did after graduating was move back home and start a very own cheese cracker company.
We've been building our dream for the past 2 years and decided it's never too late to pick up the camera and start sharing our journey.
And now, we invite you to join us on our bizarre life of selling cheese crackers.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and today we're going to be talking about cheddar cheese. That's right, we're going to be traveling all the way to London, UK, and we're going to look at the cheddar cheese there, and we're going to compare it to how it's sold here in the United States. What are the differences, if any at all? And secondly, we're going to be talking about cheddar cheese. I'm going to break it down into 3 categories. Cost, why is there a cost difference between white cheddar and yellow cheddar? Secondly, coloring, why are there 2 different colors? Yellow cheddar, white cheddar, is there a yellow cow and a white cow? What's going on? And lastly, the aging of the cheddar cheese. We've got medium, mild, and sharp. We're gonna go into the intricacies of what that looks like, what that means, and why there's a price difference. So with all that said and done, let's go check it out. Let's head over to London. So here we are. We are in a UK grocery supermarket store. There are 3 things that I want to cover. The first thing is cheddar cheese is predominantly the most sold cheese here in the store from what I can see. Cheddar cheese, cheddar cheese, cheddar cheese, all the way down to this far aisle over here. The second thing is they only have white cheddar cheese. I mean, I don't know if you can see here from the videos. Clearly you can see here from the videos. White cheddar, white cheddar. I mean, really, white cheddar across the board. Even in their block selection, it's white cheddar. And lastly, the third thing, this thing's really interesting to me. They have categorized the intensity of their cheddars by numbers. 2, 3, 4, where's 5? 5 and 6. So in the US, we only have 3 categorizations of cheddar cheese. So we're gonna go back, I'm gonna explain to you my thoughts on this. Really pretty interesting on the numbering system and the other 2 things I had just touched base on. So let's go.
We are back here in the United States of America in the cheese aisle here in a grocery store. And first things first, as I previously mentioned, the first thing that is catching my eye is the variety of cheeses here. We don't have just cheddar cheese. We have Monterey Jack, mozzarella, 3 blend, Swiss, you name it. There is a little bit of everything here. It's not just cheddar cheese. The second thing that I had mentioned was the color of the cheddar cheese here. You can see that the predominant color of the cheddar cheese is the yellow cheddar cheese. Everything from the block section in the aisle here in this category is yellow. Even all the way into the shredded cheeses, you're seeing yellow cheddar cheese. And lastly, something that I find interesting is our categorization of cheddar goes from medium, mild, to sharp. There is 3 categorizations. Usually we'll go and see some extra sharp blends, but you won't really, that's not typical. Some of the more premium brands, you'll see the sharp and the extra sharp, but the typical classification of the cheddars is medium, mild, and sharp, so not as detailed. So let's take some of these. I'm going to take a extra sharp and a medium, and we're going to look at the comparison side by side. I'm going to explain to you in further detail what that actually means. So let's go.
All right, so we're finally here. We're going to break down the cheddar cheeses. First things first, we're going to talk about the white cheddar versus the yellow cheddar. Why are they different colors? Do they in fact come from a yellow cow and a white cow? No, that's definitely not the case. All cheddars start as white cheddar. Later on in the process, right before they are pressed, before they go into aging, there is a natural dye called annatto. Now, annatto is a plant that then fruits and has these seeds. These are then processed or dried and made into a dye, which then is added to the yellow cheddar, giving it the yellow cheddar effect. Which leads me to the next thing, which is usually in the US, white cheddar is typically more expensive than yellow cheddar. The misconception is that white cheddar is either more premium, tastier, or of higher quality than yellow cheddar because it is more expensive. This is not the case at all. The reality is, we as Americans consume more yellow cheddar than white cheddar, therefore driving the price down of yellow cheddar. So one would think that because of an additional ingredient, this would be more expensive. But on the contrary, this ends up being cheaper because we eat more yellow cheddar. Now I want to talk a little bit more about cost and aging. Why is it that a mild cheddar is cheaper than a sharp cheddar? Shouldn't it just be all the same cost, given that it's cheddar cheese? The reason sharper cheddar cheeses are more expensive than a younger cheese is because whoever it is that's manufacturing the cheese needs to hold on to the cheddar cheese. So if I am the manufacturer and am aging this for 2 months, that means I am paying for 2 months of warehousing for this product. I have to hold on to this cheddar cheese for 2 months. So it's cheaper for me to hold on to a younger cheddar cheese than an older cheddar cheese. If I have to hold on to a cheddar cheese for 1 year, that means I'm paying for warehousing for 1 year and all the maintenance required to keep this age in a facility where it's aging properly. Lastly, I want to talk about the aging of the cheddar cheese. Now, I'm not going to make this super long and complicated because it can get quite complex. But in front of me, I have a mild cheddar cheese, your sharp cheddar cheese, and on my phone, I have a picture of a very young cheddar cheese. Now, you'll see here that it looks very uncharacteristic of a typical cheddar cheese. It looks rubbery, not homogeneous, and quite strange, to be honest with you. That is because the protein found in milk, casein, has not fully broken down. This cheddar cheese is probably somewhere between 7 to 14 days old, not giving the process of aging enough time to make the cheddar cheese homogeneous. So you'll see here in these pictures the very uncharacteristic images of the protein. The little white speckles in the cheese is actually the protein casein, not broken down yet. We filtered it out we sifted it to actually take a further look at the cheese, as it was problematic for the baking process that we do. So that was quite interesting to find out, and we're going to cut into the mild cheddar cheese and just show you the physical characteristics of the cheddar cheese here. So the mild cheddar cheese is going to be anywhere between 3 to 6 months old. You'll see that it's quite rubbery and elastic. When it splits, you will see that it looks kind of fibrous still. I'm actually just going to go ahead and do the whole block here. You're going to see how it tears and rips there. That's because the process of aging has not continued. That is the protein there that has not fully become homogenized as you would typically see in a sharper cheddar cheese. It's starting to become smooth and buttery like you would typically see in a characteristic of cheddar, but because it's a young cheddar cheese, it hasn't quite had enough time to do that. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the sharp cheddar cheese. I'm going to cut into this. It's much harder than the mild cheddar cheese. My blade is having a difficult time cutting all the way through. You're going to see that this looks similar, but you're seeing less white in there, a more homogeneous, smooth looking cheese. And I'm actually going to tear this into a piece, and you can see how much smoother that looks already. I'm going to go ahead and tear this block just the same way. You can see how much smoother this looks already. This is the sharp, and this is the mild. You can see how much smoother the surface of this looks, not as broken up looking and mountainous as this piece. And that's because the proteins in the sharp has had enough, in the cheese, has had enough time to break down and become more homogeneous in taste. Now, some of the physical taste characteristics of the sharp cheddar cheese is going to be a nuttier, sharper texture, more intense than the mild. The mild might be more preferred for kids and family because it's not as intense of a flavor. Anyhow, this was kind of a brief overview of cheddar cheeses. Hopefully it served us some purpose. I'm hoping to do a more detailed overview of cheddar cheeses later on in the future. Please like and subscribe to our channel. If there's any other content you'd like to see, let us know.